we're glad you can join us virtually. We're going to sing some songs and worship God together this morning. shadows, now I've seen the light. In my head, in my soul, my heart, my all, I know that I know, no, 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 never, never have I ever found a love so good, so good. Never, never am I ever getting over living with you. Nothing will change it. All I can say is never, never have I ever found a love so good, so good. Yeah, got a million reasons why I can't be the same. You got me looking forward, never turning my gaze. Forever gotten you and I together till the end of time. In my head, in my soul, my heart, my all, I know that I know, no, 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 never, never have I ever found a love so good, so good. Never, never am I ever getting over living with you. Nothing will change it. All I can say is never, never have I ever found a love so good, so good. Never have I Your love is patient, love is kind. Your love is never hard to find. Forever I am yours and you're mine. All right, all right, all right. Never, never have I ever found a love so good, so good. Never, never am I ever getting over living with you. Nothing can change it. All I can say is never, never have I ever found a love so good, so good. Never have I ever known. Never have I
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, Kent. Good morning, welcome. We're so glad that you could join us again, stream into the loft here as we continue to show up every Sunday morning in our digital format. This morning is fun. We have changed things up again, and so always we're trying to figure out, one, how to do this better as far as Sundays are concerned for all of you, and also trying to figure out how to continue to do this in such a way that once we are actually able to all be here in person, we will be able to continue to live stream for those of you who are joining us and don't live anywhere near Barrie. So we're glad that you could be here. This morning's joke is a special one. What do you get if you put an eyeball in the microwave? Popcornia. That's pretty good. Popcornia, I like that. I'm not supposed to tell you who came up with that joke, and I won't because he controls the sound and could mute me. Anyways, so that's birthdays. I haven't checked our birthday list here. Is anybody? I didn't see anybody shouting out birthdays. Oh, Rob. I like Rob's joke. Saw a bunch of rabbits jump out of a bush this morning. It was hair-raising. So funny. So I don't think there's any birthdays this week. That's surprising. That is surprising. Well, happy birthday to anybody who is watching and we don't know it's your birthday. We're glad that you could join us. We're going to continue on again this morning with a little bit more time to spend together in worship. This morning is kind of fun. There are a couple of a couple new songs that Aaron gave to us this week and a couple retro songs. So it's been a very enjoyable morning. So let's continue on in worship.
Bring a freedom to all that's within. In thy Satan tempts me to despair. I hear the voice that scatters fear. Oh, the great I am, the Lord is here. Oh, praise the one who fights for me and shields my soul eternally. I'll go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go. I'll go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go. I've been a fool, went down, thought I could walk the line, be just in time to turn it back around. But I fall through the forbidden door, and though I knew the stakes, still made my way just like every time before. I'm over my head and lost. No, there's no way I'm able to pay back the cost. But this I call to mind, that I'm not alone, I can come back home anytime. So I'll go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go. I'll go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go. You're caught standing still, think you'll be fine. The colors fade, you drift away and you're back to what you know. It's easy what you like. You don't look back, refuse to turn back. I build my own makeshift home, but it only ever serves to make it worse. I'm over my head and lost, and the ground feels unstable, and I can't make it stop. But this I call to mind, how the Father runs to the wayward Son, coming back alive. I'll go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go. I'll go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go. I'll go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go. I'll go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go. Even when you fall so hard, even then you're not too far gone. Even when you fall so hard, even then you're not too far. Go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go. I'll go to the storehouse, I'll go to the storehouse of mercy, I'll go.
So we are continuing in the series that we've been doing. We've been doing a series on the spiritual gifts or spiritual disciplines, and different ways that we can grow a little bit closer, different ways that we can connect a little bit more with God, even in the midst of everything that's going on. And so we've been looking at a bunch of different ones today, over the past couple weeks. And today, Roy is going to be sharing with us this morning on the idea of finding time to get away and to slow down and to spend time with God. And so we're going to watch that now.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to see you all here again today. I guess you're all probably wondering what I'm doing out here in the middle of nowhere. Well, let me assure you, it is not a new series called Survivor Man Box or anything along those lines. I'm not out here trying to survive. Well, I guess kind of sort of I am. If you saw the earlier time-lapse video, you know that, well, at least at that moment in the video, I was, or at least in that moment in my day, I was pretty busy. Believe it or not, that time-lapse was taken over a 20-minute period of time while I was in the middle of class and working on some jobs that are in. Believe it or not, that's actually been what every single Monday to Friday has been like for the last 5 weeks. It's been a whole lot of fun. And then this past week I kind of hit a bit of a wall. It was a weird experience for me. I'm usually pretty good at keeping myself protected from hitting walls or burning out. So last Sunday, right after church, I got the news that a friend of mine's son had passed away. That was pretty rough. Grew up with her, living down the street to some extent anyways, for part of my childhood. And she moved back into the area when she got older, and the young lad actually had helped my dad out over at his place a couple times. I lived right across the road, so I hit a little close to home. And then Monday of the week, I had a midterm, and I found it really difficult, which is surprising. I usually don't struggle with exams or anything like that, but this one, it was a little bit harder than what I was used to. And then just school and business all week, and then Thursday, McKenna had her tonsillectomy. So I woke up Thursday morning and I couldn't sleep at all Wednesday night to Thursday. It was pretty rough. And then, I was pretty stressed out all day in class on Thursday. And then Thursday night, the surgery went great. She's doing really wonderful. But Thursday night was, her first night back home after surgery. And every 4 hours, you got to wake her up and give her medication and painkillers. So that's my job because I don't sleep anyways. So I woke up 3 times throughout the night to administer the medication that she needed, and then Friday morning I had my final exam for the class that I was in. Fortunately, I think I did really well in the exam, but I also had a bunch of work that I had to do yesterday as well, or Friday. Yesterday for me, Friday for you guys, because you're not seeing this until now. Anyways, I was thinking it's really hard for me to stay connected with people when things are really busy. It's hard to make sure that I reach out sometimes and make sure that I do some of the stuff that I probably should do for my own mental health. But the one thing that is also really difficult, and I think the last year of this pandemic has kind of brought it a little bit closer to home. I have felt very disconnected from God. I have found myself trying very hard to see Him at work in the days, in the weeks, in the last even months. I'm actively having to search for Him, and there are days when that's harder than it probably should be. If I'm being as honest as possible, there have been days over the last year where I just stayed on the couch. I just figured it's not worth it. I'm not going to fight through the day today. I'm just going to stay on the couch, relax, watch TV, maybe drink a coffee. This is not a hot coffee, by the way. I despise hot coffee. I know some of you people think I'm weird now, but Hope always says that I like my frou-frou drinks. Well, this is a frou-frou drink. So anyways, like I've had times where it's just like, we're not going to fight this. We're just going to sit on the couch and not worry about it. And what I realized is that started getting a little bit easier than I would like it to be. I found myself watching TV more than reading, which is a little bit odd. I found myself not watching what I'm eating. One night we bought chips and pizza. It's a Wednesday night is a thing for us, chips and pizza and pop and stuff like that. And I think I sat and, which is abnormal, understand this. I sat and ate an entire bag of chips and potato chips. I like dill pickle chips. Sat and ate a whole bag of dill pickle chips and half a pizza. Medium pizza. Like, let's not get too carried away here. And it was fantastic. Like, I loved every minute of it until 3 o'clock in the morning when the indigestion and heartburn hit. And then I was seriously regretting my decision to eat an entire bag of chips and half a medium pizza. It was a miserable night. Well, I guess the question is, like, where am I going with this? And I think one of the things that we struggle with, and in the church and in everyday life, to be honest with you, there's one of the things that we struggle with is trying to stay connected with God on a daily basis, and it's hard because I think part of the reason why we struggle with that is because we have a misconception about, who God is. I'll give you a quick overview. I preached a message a couple years back about the entity or identity of God, and how we need to learn a different way of understanding who and what God is. If you go onto the Vox website and you look up my name, you should be able to find it on there. The name of the sermon will be posted right around, right about here probably. Yeah, so you can go on there and take a look for that. I enjoyed that message because it kind of, like most of you guys, outside of maybe some people who have spent quite a bit of time in Bible college or have a significant post-secondary education in theology, most people kind of have this image of God as this like almighty, huge being that lives in the clouds up here somewhere, and he's got a big, huge, long, majestic beard and long gray hair, and kind of like Zeus, but hopefully not with lightning bolts. Well, that's not who God is. The first depiction of God as this bearded, long-haired entity didn't actually come into existence until about the 1400s. Before that, God was either a fire, or a dove, or a hand, even maybe. That was kind of like the beginning of this human kind of depiction of it outside of the book of Genesis. Now, the book of Genesis, especially like right at the beginning, right at the creation story, the first few bits here. I've got I take this with me when I go out into places like this to try and reconnect. This is a copy of The Message by Eugene Peterson, and I like it because it's easy reading to me. So we have right Genesis 1, right straight through until Genesis 2. We have the whole creation story, and it's like God is like, new thing, new thing, new thing, and He just creates it. And like 3 and 5, the light appeared, and there was day and there was night. Genesis 6 and 8, the sky in the middle of the water, separate water from water. And God made sky. And He's going through, and He's just very quickly making these things. But then when you hit Genesis 1:26 through to Genesis 2, you have this huge section where He's talking about making us. And God spoke, "Let us make human beings in our image, make them reflect our nature, so they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself." And He goes on this whole thing, and we have this depiction of God creating us, right? And then into Genesis 2. Oh, my pages are stuck together here. Sorry. We have him. Genesis 2 basically starts off with he finished the work and he took a rest, right? So you have this whole section, Genesis 1 right through to Genesis 2, where God's creating a whole bunch of stuff, and He seems like a really busy dude. He's out there, making stuff just exist, and then He takes a whole day and He takes a rest. Now, we have many messages on the Vox website about Sabbath rest and taking rest and taking time for ourselves and reconnecting, and that's kind of what this message is about. But I want to, before we talk about the importance of reconnecting with God in certain ways, I want to make sure that I clarify what our relationship is to a certain extent. Some, like briefly, what our relationship is with God, right? So we go into the story of Adam and Eve, and we have the best way to look at this is we have Adam and Eve coming into existence, and one of the things that God does that I find interesting in the story is we see Him bringing dirt together to form us out of the dirt, and then He breathes life into us, and then we exist, and He's made us in His image, and we have right from the outset a deeper relationship with God than any of His other creation does. He has spent more time with us in creating us, and it feels like at least the way that the beginning of Genesis explains it, it feels like God spends more time with us. He invests more of Himself in us and our relationship with Him. So, where am I going with this? The big thing that I think we need to understand here is God has designed us specifically to be in relationship with Him. Because God created everything, God is everywhere. He is all over the place. He's not just like this old man, or even like Morgan Freeman and Bruce Almighty. I love that depiction of God because the whole movie talks about how we just don't understand how big of a deal everything is. We have such a narrow scope, a narrow understanding. We don't have the mental capacity to be able to understand how large this whole thing is. And I think if we could define it, if we could understand it, it wouldn't be what it really is. I don't think we can ever understand that. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so important to understand that God created us to be in relationship with Him. Okay? And we have actively walked away from that relationship. I preached a little while back, and if you've been into church for a while, you've seen it before. And it's the gospel in two chairs. Bruxy Cavey does a great version of it. I tried to copy it a little bit, his style of it anyways, a couple, I guess it would have been 2019, so a while ago. Go take a minute and watch it, because it's a really good way of understanding the gospel, I think, and the importance of understanding our relationship with God. So, if God is everywhere, and God isn't a physical, a being like the old man in the sky with the beard and the hair, how do we reconnect with him? How do we understand him? Well, I think one of the things that I look at, one of the things that I think is really important is I think it's much harder for us to stay connected with God and reconnect with God when we are no longer connected with God. It's much harder for us to do that when we're in the middle of the busyness of our lives. Like in the time lapse, I'm barely connecting with any of the things that I'm doing. I'm hyper focused on trying to make sure that I'm just accomplishing the things that need to be done for the day. And that brings us to, what am I doing out here? This is a beautiful day. I'm just in a sweater and a t-shirt. I got my snow pants on. It's probably 4 degrees, 3 degrees right now. It was snowing earlier. It kind of changed into a little bit of rain. I'm feeling pretty warm outside of, I got a bit of snow in my back here that's a little bit cold, but I'm out here, and outside of speaking with you guys, I'm out here just being. I'm just taking a minute, and I'm looking around, and I'm just seeing where I am and experiencing where I am. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I'm listening to the wind blow through the trees beside me and behind me and all around me. And so over here on this side, it's all forest and trees and evergreen trees and snow, and it's beautiful. And over here, in this direction over here, is more marshy and swamp. I'm kind of right on the edge of it. I'm actually right behind me, right here, is like a ditch where water actually flows into the swamp, into this marsh, and then flows down out into Georgian Bay. This is one of my favorite spots to be. I try and come down here, unfortunately not this year, but I try and come down here at least once a month, because nobody comes down here. It's very, very rare that anybody actually walks down into this place. And no, I'm not going to share with you where it is, because there are probably too many people that are watching this right now. I'm going to keep this one to myself. But if you live in Simcoe County, if you live in Southern Ontario, if you're not actually right dead center in the middle of the city, and to be honest with you, even in the middle of the city, you can get out and just experience, just be, just exist. There's no better way to get acquainted with God's creation than to touch it and to be with it and experience it. There's no better way to do that than to get out. God spent so much time creating all of this. We need to get out into it more and spend more time in it. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we can't do this with people. Not the way that I would like to do it. I've been fortunate that I've been able to connect with Janelle over the wintertime, because we're both live fairly closely, and he's just up in Wabashine and I'm in Moonstone, and we've had the opportunity to get together and go for some snowshoeing hikes out into the wilderness, and it's been fantastic to get out there. And I'm fortunate because I tend to do this a little bit more often than maybe some people get an opportunity to. I know some kind of little hidden gems and stuff, and it's been nice to be able to share that stuff with Janelle, because Janelle has now shared that with like Nathan and Carrie as well over the wintertime, where they've been able to obviously socially distance, they've been able to get out there and experience God's creation when we're just so inundated with stress. We can get away and we can be in this quietness. Like, honestly, the only thing that I hear every now and then is the odd plane. And I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but it's way off in the distance. I'm sitting here and I hear the wind. I hear a woodpecker back in the back somewhere. Some birds are flying around and chirping. I'm sure you can hear them in the video. Oh, there's a dog way over there somewhere. This is the best way to reconnect. I know, like Sean Brown has posted some pictures of him out on the ski hill, and for him that's a great way to reconnect with the world, with creation. And he spends so much time in the bush, in the wilderness, out there fishing and hiking and biking and all of those things. And that's wonderful, and I think that's a perfect example of what we should be doing when we feel disconnected, when we're feeling down. It's amazing for me, I don't know about you if you have a lot of experience in this, but it's amazing for me when I get to come out here, within probably 100 yards of walking back into the bush, I can feel the weight come off my shoulders. I usually am pretty tight up and top in my shoulders and in my neck, and I can feel everything kind of relax and just kind of settle down. And I get to come out here and be in this creation, and I bring my Bible with me. And like I said, like I have this nice copy of the Message, and I can just pick a book, and I just start reading. And I start reading, and I start thinking about not just what the words are saying, because I think sometimes we get really hung up in the words that are printed in the book. And we're supposed to. That's okay. But I try and take a minute, and I think about the underlying story that's going on, the broader picture of it, and what these people in this book are experiencing. You know, we think about Jesus, like Jesus goes out and he's preaching and he's walking and he's teaching with all these people, and he's got a group of people that are following him, and then he's got a tighter group of people that he's really connected with, that he confides in. But then he often, you read this, you go find it, I'm not going to do it for you this time. He will often stop, and the Bible says that he goes off and to a quiet place and he prays. God goes off into the hills and he prays. And he goes off and he spends time with his Father, with our Creator. And I think we need to do that more often. I think we need to take that time, like Jesus does, out of our busy days and just walk out. Just walk out into the woods, into God's creation, and be with it, and just sit here. And you know what, guys? I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to say have a nice day. I'm going to tell you all that I love you, and I cannot wait to get together with you and do this with you in person. But I'm going to sit here now, and I'm going to take a little bit of time with God's Word, in God's creation, by myself. And I will see you all next week. Peace and love.
dreams. Be all my delights. Be my everything. And I will worship you, Lord, only you, Lord. I will bow down before you, only you, it's just you and me here now. It's only you and me here now. You should see the view when it's only you. Just you and me here now. Only you and me here now. You should see the view when it's only you. And I will worship you, Lord, only you, Lord. And I will bow down before you, only you. It's just you and me here now. Only you and me here now. You should see the view when it's only you.
So thanks for joining us again this morning. We're glad that you could stream into the loft here with us. I suppose technically we stream out of the loft, but you know what I mean. We're glad you could join us. We're glad you could be here, and we hope that you will be able to join us again here next week. As far as Roy's message today, it'll be up on the website a little bit later today, and I'll try to include the links to the two messages that he referenced if you want to kind of go and take a look at those as well. And otherwise, we will see you back here next Sunday morning, same bad time, same bad channel. God bless.